God says, I'm unleashing the biggest punishment of the year tonight. My beloved child, pause for a moment and listen closely, because what is unfolding around you right now is not random, and it is not small. Something significant has been set into motion tonight, and your heart felt a whisper of it even before these words reached you. You may have wondered why certain things that seemed hidden are slowly coming into the light. Why certain attitudes, choices, and intentions are beginning to reveal their true shape. It is not coincidence. It is the quiet unfolding of balance. What many people call punishment is not chaos, anger, or revenge. It is something deeper. It is the moment when truth finally stands up and says, enough. It is the moment when what was ignored can no longer stay hidden. And tonight carries the energy of that turning point. But listen carefully, this message is not here to fill you with fear. It is here to awaken your awareness. Because while some are facing the consequences of the paths they chose, you are being positioned for something very different. There is a reason you were drawn here right now. You have walked through confusion, silence, and moments where you felt overlooked. You wondered why certain things seemed unfair, why certain doors stayed closed, why certain people acted the way they did. Yet through it all, you kept moving forward, even when your strength felt quiet and unseen. That quiet strength has not gone unnoticed. And tonight, a shift begins that many people will not immediately understand. The same light that reveals hidden intentions also clears the road for those who chose patience, growth, and sincerity. It rearranges situations. It moves pieces that once felt stuck. It begins restoring balance in ways that are subtle at first, but powerful over time. This is why you must not scroll past this moment. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you to understand. The story unfolding tonight is bigger than one moment, one person, or one situation. It is a realignment of paths, and your path is one of the few that is about to change direction in a way that feels almost unbelievable. But the first sign has already appeared. And in the next moment of this message, you will begin to see exactly why tonight is different from every night that came before. My beloved child, there is a quiet moment unfolding right now that most people will overlook, yet it carries a meaning far greater than it first appears. Something unseen has begun to shift, like the first movement of the tide before the ocean changes direction. You may not hear it with your ears, but your spirit has already sensed it. For a long time, you have watched certain situations repeat themselves. The same patterns, the same misunderstandings, the same closed doors that left you wondering why things never seemed to move forward the way you hoped. But tonight is not like those other nights. Tonight marks the moment when balance begins to return. When the title speaks of the biggest punishment, it does not mean harm or anger. It means the quiet arrival of truth. It means that actions are finally meeting their reflection. It means that what was once hidden behind silence is slowly being uncovered by light. And while some people may feel uneasy as this truth appears, you are being guided somewhere entirely different. You were never meant to carry the weight of what others chose. You were meant to witness the moment when everything begins to make sense. So don't skip this moment. Stay here with me, because something huge is waiting for you to understand. The changes beginning tonight may look small at first: a conversation, a realization, a sudden shift in someone's behavior. But these small movements are the first signs of a much bigger transformation already unfolding behind the scenes. Think about the last few days. Have you noticed unusual thoughts, unexpected memories, or a feeling that something important is approaching? That feeling is not random. It is the quiet signal that the season you have been waiting for is beginning to open. And here is what makes tonight truly powerful. The same moment that reveals truth to others is also preparing a new path for you. A path that will make you look back at everything you endured and finally understand why none of it was wasted. But what happens next is something very few people are prepared to recognize. And the next part will reveal the first sign that this shift has already begun. But here is the moment most people fail to recognize. A quiet turning point has already begun, and it started long before tonight. For a while, you may have felt as if life was pausing you. As if certain plans slowed down, certain connections changed, or certain answers stayed just out of reach. At times it may have felt confusing, even frustrating. Yet that pause was never empty. It was preparation. Because when truth begins to rise, it does not rush loudly. It moves quietly through situations, gently revealing what belongs in your life, and what never truly did. And tonight, that revealing becomes impossible to ignore. You may soon notice people acting differently around you. Words being spoken that were never said before. Attitudes shifting in ways that surprise even you. These are not random reactions. They are reflections. The energy of honesty has a way of rearranging everything it touches. It invites clarity where there was once confusion. It brings understanding where there were once questions. For some, this moment feels uncomfortable, because it asks them to face the truth of their own choices. But for you, this moment is opening a door. A door you could not have forced open earlier, no matter how hard you tried. This is why you were asked to wait. This is why patience was placed in your heart, even when it felt difficult. Because the timing unfolding tonight carries something rare, something that only appears when the right moment has finally arrived. And if you are listening closely, you may already feel it. A quiet sense that the chapter you struggled through is slowly closing, while another chapter, one filled with clarity and purpose, is beginning to reveal itself. Don't rush past this message. Stay with it, because something huge is waiting for you to see. In the next moment, you will understand the first clear sign that this shift has truly begun around you, and why your story is about to take a direction you never expected. And now, something even more meaningful is beginning to reveal itself. Look closely at the small changes around you. They may appear ordinary at first: a conversation that suddenly feels different, a realization that arrives out of nowhere, or a moment of clarity that seems to stop time for just a second. These moments are not accidents. They are signals. For a long time, many things were happening quietly behind the scenes, shaping circumstances in ways you could not see. Pieces were moving, lessons were forming, and paths were slowly being redirected. You may have thought nothing was happening. But in reality, everything was preparing for this moment. Tonight carries a special kind of awakening. Not loud, not overwhelming, but steady and undeniable. It is the moment when hidden intentions begin to lose their power, and sincerity begins to stand stronger than ever before. This is what the title truly means. The greatest correction is not about harm or struggle. It is about clarity. It is about the moment when truth gently steps forward and places everything back into its rightful place. And when that happens, people begin to see things they once ignored. They begin to understand words they once dismissed. They begin to recognize the value of someone they once underestimated. You may already feel this shift approaching you. Perhaps there is a growing sense of calm inside your heart. A feeling that something long awaited is finally drawing closer. A quiet confidence that your story is not finished yet. That feeling is real. Because something huge is waiting just beyond this moment. Stay with this message until the end, because the next part reveals something very few people talk about, the unexpected way this shift will begin to show itself in your life, sooner than you think. And just when everything seemed quiet, the first undeniable sign begins to appear. It may not arrive with noise or sudden spectacle. Instead, it comes as a realization so clear that it changes the way you look at everything around you. Suddenly, certain things start making sense. You begin to understand why some connections faded, why some plans paused, and why certain people moved away from your path. What once felt confusing slowly reveals its deeper purpose. This is how the great correction unfolds. Not through force, but through clarity. Tonight marks the beginning of that clarity spreading further than it ever has before. The truth that was once whispered quietly is now becoming impossible to ignore. People are seeing situations from a new perspective. Words that were misunderstood are now being understood. And while this shift is unfolding for many, it carries a special meaning for you. Because you were never meant to remain in the uncertainty you once faced. You were meant to witness the moment when everything starts aligning again. Stay here with this message, because something huge is still ahead. There is a moment approaching when you will realize that what looked like delay was actually protection. What felt like silence was actually preparation. And what seemed like distance was quietly guiding you toward a better direction. This realization will change the way you see your entire journey. And when that understanding arrives, a new kind of peace begins to grow inside you. The kind of peace that only comes when you finally see the full picture. But the most surprising part of this story has not been revealed yet. Because in the next moment, you will discover the unexpected reason why tonight was chosen for this shift, and why your path is about to open in a way that feels almost impossible to predict. And here is the moment where the deeper meaning finally begins to unfold. There is a reason tonight feels different, even if you cannot fully explain it yet. It is the kind of moment that arrives quietly but carries the power to change the direction of a story. For a long time, many things around you were still forming. Certain lessons needed time. Certain truths needed patience before they could appear clearly. And certain hearts needed space before they could truly understand what was standing in front of them. Now that moment of understanding is drawing closer. You may notice it in small ways first. Someone realizing the value of your presence. A situation that once felt complicated suddenly becoming simple. A door that once felt firmly closed slowly beginning to open. These are not coincidences. They are signs that the balance returning tonight is beginning to reach your world. When the title speaks about the biggest punishment, it is not about darkness. It is about the quiet power of realization. It is the moment when people see clearly the impact of their choices, and that clarity begins guiding them toward better paths. And in that same moment, those who remain sincere begin to feel something else entirely. Relief. Hope. A sense that the weight they carried is finally being lifted. You have been walking through a season that tested your patience, your understanding, and your strength. Yet even in the moments when things felt uncertain, you kept moving forward. That quiet determination has brought you exactly to this turning point. Don't skip the final part of this message. Stay until the end, because something huge is waiting for you to realize. In the next moment, the final piece of this message will reveal why this shift is not only about what others are beginning to see, but about the surprising new chapter that is quietly opening for you right now. And now the final piece of this message comes into view. Take a slow breath and reflect on everything you have heard so far. The shifts, the realizations, the quiet corrections that begin when truth finally rises. None of it was meant to frighten you. It was meant to prepare you. Because the true message of tonight is not about what others must face. It is about what you are about to receive. While some people are only now beginning to understand the consequences of their choices, you are stepping into the reward of your patience. The moments you stayed kind when it was easier to become cold. The times you chose growth when it would have been simpler to give up. Those moments were building something. And now that something is ready to reveal itself, you may soon feel a sense of movement returning to areas of your life that once felt still. Opportunities, conversations, and connections beginning to flow again in ways that feel natural and right. Not forced, not rushed, but aligned. This is the quiet miracle of balance. When truth stands where it belongs, the path for those who stayed sincere becomes clearer than ever before. So if you have been wondering whether your efforts mattered, they did. If you have been wondering whether the silence meant nothing was happening, it did. Everything was leading you here. Tonight is simply the moment you begin to see it. Something huge is waiting for you just beyond this chapter, and it will arrive not with chaos, but with a calm certainty that you are finally walking in the direction meant for you. So hold on to the peace rising in your heart. Because the story that once felt uncertain is now moving toward a future far brighter than the one you once imagined. And just when you think the message has finished, there is one final truth your heart needs to hear. The shift that began tonight is not a single moment that fades by morning. It is the opening of a new rhythm in your life. A rhythm where clarity replaces confusion and quiet confidence replaces doubt. For so long, you may have searched for signs outside yourself, wondering when the right moment would finally arrive. Yet the greatest change begins the moment you realize something powerful. You were never forgotten. Every step you took through uncertainty was shaping the strength that now lives inside you. Every delay you questioned was creating space for something more meaningful to enter your path. That is why tonight matters. Not because something dramatic appears in the sky, but because something steady begins to rise within you. A calm awareness that the direction of your life is shifting toward something more genuine, more peaceful, and more aligned with who you truly are. Stay with that feeling. Because the people who notice these quiet turning points are the ones who walk into the next chapter with clear eyes and an open heart. Soon, you will look back at this season and realize it was not the ending you once feared. It was the preparation for a beginning you could not yet imagine. And as this new chapter unfolds, you will begin to notice something beautiful: the right opportunities appearing at the right time, the right words arriving when they are needed, and the right connections finding their way toward you. This is the calm power of a life realigning. So move forward with patience and trust the quiet unfolding ahead of you. Because the moment you thought was a punishment in the world around you, was actually the turning point that cleared the path for your own brighter future.